A single dad Copilot boards the aircraft, but the captain refuses to fly with him. She demands his immediate removal, claiming he does not respect her authority. Minutes before takeoff, she calls headquarters. Then the director reveals a shocking truth that turns her pale: he owns the entire aircraft. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. The morning sun barely touched the horizon when Captain Jennifer Walsh arrived at the private aviation terminal. She had flown for 15 years, accumulated over 8,000 hours in the cockpit, and earned her 4 stripes through countless difficult flights. Today should have been routine, a simple flight from New York to Miami with a wealthy client aboard. She walked into the crew briefing room with her leather flight bag over her shoulder. The room smelled of fresh coffee and jet fuel, a combination she had grown to love over the years. But when she saw the man sitting at the briefing table, her face tightened. Michael Reed sat quietly reviewing the flight plan on his tablet. He was younger than Jennifer, maybe in his early 30s. His uniform was crisp, his flight bag looked new, and he had the calm demeanor of someone who had done this before. But there was something about him that made Jennifer uncomfortable. She had seen his file earlier that morning. Single father. 2 young daughters. He had been flying commercially for only 3 years. Before that, he had been in the military, but Jennifer did not care about that. What mattered to her was experience in private aviation, and this man did not have enough of it. "You must be the new first officer," Jennifer said, her voice cool. Michael looked up and smiled. "Michael Reed. Nice to meet you, Captain." Jennifer did not return the smile. She set her bag down and pulled out her own tablet. "Have you reviewed the flight plan?" "Yes, ma'am, looks straightforward. Weather is clear most of the way. We have 1 passenger, wheels up at 8. Jennifer nodded. "I run a tight cockpit. I do not tolerate mistakes. I do not tolerate distractions. And I especially do not appreciate first officers who think they know everything just because they flew some cargo planes or military jets." Michael's smile faded slightly, but he kept his voice steady. "Understood, Captain." "Good." Jennifer stood. "Let us do the pre-flight. I want to be on time." They walked out to the tarmac together. The aircraft waiting for them was a beautiful Gulfstream G650, white and gleaming in the early light. It was the kind of jet that cost $60 million, the kind that flew billionaires and celebrities across continents in perfect luxury. Jennifer headed straight for the cockpit door, but Michael stopped at the nose of the aircraft. He set his bag down and began his walk-around inspection. Jennifer turned back. "What are you doing?" "Walk-around inspection," Michael said simply. "I already did the walk-around," Jennifer said. "We are on a schedule." Michael looked at her calmly. "I always do my own walk-around, Captain. It is part of my routine." Jennifer's jaw tightened. "I am the captain of this aircraft. If I say the walk-around is done, it is done." Michael did not argue. He simply said, "I will be quick," and continued his inspection. Jennifer felt anger rising in her chest. This was exactly what she had been worried about. A first officer who did not respect her authority. A man who thought he knew better. She had dealt with this type before, and she was not going to tolerate it today. She watched him move around the aircraft, checking every panel, every surface, running his hands along the wings and inspecting the engines. He was thorough, she had to admit that. But his thoroughness felt like an insult. Like he was saying her inspection was not good enough. Jennifer pulled out her phone and dialed the operations manager. "This is Captain Walsh," she said when he answered. "I have a problem with my first officer." "What kind of problem?" the manager asked. "He is not following my instructions. He is wasting time doing an unnecessary walk-around after I already completed one. I need someone who will respect the chain of command." There was a pause on the other end. Captain Walsh, it is standard procedure for both pilots to do their own walkarounds if they want to. There is nothing wrong with that. That is not the point, Jennifer snapped. The point is that he is questioning my authority. I will not fly with someone who does not trust my judgment. I want a replacement first officer. The manager sighed. Captain, we do not have another first officer available right now. The flight is in 30 minutes. Can you just work with him for this one trip? No, Jennifer said firmly. I will not fly with him. Either you find me someone else, or I am walking off this flight right now. Captain Walsh. I am serious, Jennifer interrupted. I have been flying for 15 years. I have never had an incident, never had a violation, never had a complaint. I know what I am doing. And I will not risk my license flying with someone who does not respect me. The manager was quiet for a moment. Let me make some calls. Stay by the aircraft. Jennifer ended the call and looked over at Michael. He was crouched by the landing gear, inspecting the tires. He seemed completely unaware of what was happening. Or maybe he was just pretending not to notice. Either way, Jennifer felt justified in her decision. This was her cockpit, her command, and she had the right to choose who she flew with. She thought about all the years she had spent fighting for respect in this industry. The male pilots who had dismissed her, the passengers who had asked if she was really qualified to fly, the instructors who had been harder on her than on the male students. She had earned her place in that captain's seat, and she was not going to let anyone undermine her authority. 5 minutes later, Michael finished his walk-around and climbed into the cockpit. Jennifer was already in the captain's seat, arms crossed. Everything looks good, Michael said as he took the first officer's seat. Clean aircraft. No issues. Jennifer did not respond. She stared straight ahead, her phone in her lap, waiting for the operations manager to call her back. Michael glanced at her. Is everything okay, Captain? We are waiting, Jennifer said coldly. Waiting for what? A replacement. Michael's expression shifted. A replacement for me? Jennifer finally looked at him. Yes. I do not think we are a good fit for this flight. Michael leaned back in his seat. His face was calm, but there was something in his eyes, something that looked like disappointment. May I ask why? He said quietly. You do not follow instructions, Jennifer said. I told you the walk-around was complete, and you did it anyway. That tells me you do not trust my judgment. And if you do not trust my judgment on the ground, you will not trust it in the air. I cannot work with someone like that. Michael was silent for a moment. Then he nodded slowly. I understand. He did not argue. He did not defend himself. He just sat there quietly, his hands resting on his knees. For some reason, his calm acceptance made Jennifer even angrier. She wanted him to fight back, to prove that he was the problem, not her. Jennifer's phone buzzed. She answered immediately. Captain Walsh, this is Director Chen from headquarters, a woman's voice said. I understand you are requesting a replacement first officer. That is correct, Jennifer said. I do not feel comfortable flying with Michael Reed. Can you tell me why? He does not respect my authority. He questioned my pre-flight inspection and wasted time doing his own walk-around even after I told him it was unnecessary. There was a long pause on the other end. Then Director Chen spoke again, her voice careful. Captain Walsh, doing a personal walk-around is standard procedure. Every pilot has the right to inspect the aircraft themselves. I am aware of that, Jennifer said. But this is about more than procedure. This is about trust. I do not trust him, and I will not fly with him. Another pause. Captain Walsh, are you aware of who Michael Reed is? Jennifer frowned. He is a first officer with 3 years of commercial experience. That is all I need to know. Actually, Director Chen said slowly, Michael Reed is the co-founder of this company. He owns 49% of the entire fleet. The aircraft you are sitting in right now belongs to him. Jennifer's face went pale. Her hand tightened around the phone. The color drained from her cheeks, and she felt a cold wave of shock wash over her entire body. "What?" she whispered. "Michael Reed started this company 12 years ago with his business partner," Director Chen continued. "He built it from the ground up. He still flies because he loves it, not because he needs the job. He has over 10,000 flight hours, including 5 years flying combat missions overseas. He is one of the most experienced pilots in this company." Jennifer's mouth opened, but no words came out. She turned to look at Michael, who was sitting quietly in the first officer's seat, his hands folded in his lap. He did not look angry. He did not look smug. He just looked sad. "Captain Walsh," Director Chen said, "if you still want a replacement, we can arrange that. But I need you to understand that this decision will go on your record. Refusing to fly with the co-founder of the company without a valid safety reason is not something we take lightly." Jennifer's mind was racing. She had just tried to get the owner of the company removed from his own aircraft. She had accused him of not respecting her authority when he had more authority than she could ever have. She had called him inexperienced when he had flown 3 times longer than she had. She felt her stomach turn with embarrassment and shame. Jennifer started, then stopped. "I did not know." "That is clear," Director Chen said. "So what would you like to do?" Jennifer looked at Michael again. He met her eyes, and for a moment, neither of them spoke. She could see now that there was no judgment in his expression. No anger. Just patience. Waiting to see what she would decide. "I will fly the trip," Jennifer said quietly. "Are you sure?" "Yes. I am sure." "All right. Have a safe flight, Captain." The call ended. Jennifer set her phone down and stared at the instrument panel in front of her. Her hands were shaking slightly. She felt humiliated. Exposed, like she had just made the biggest mistake of her career. Michael finally spoke. "You did not know who I was." "No," Jennifer admitted. "I did not." "That is okay," Michael said. "Most people do not. I do not put my name on anything. I just fly." Jennifer turned to face him. "Why did you not tell me?" Michael shrugged. "Because it should not matter. When I am in this cockpit, I am a first officer. That is my job today. The fact that I own the company does not change that. I still need to do my walk-around. I still need to follow procedures. I still need to work as part of a team." Jennifer felt a wave of shame wash over her. "I was rude to you." "Yes, you were," Michael said simply. "I am sorry." Michael nodded. Apology accepted. They sat in silence for a moment. Jennifer tried to process everything. This man owned the aircraft she was sitting in. He had built this entire company from nothing. And she had treated him like he was incompetent. Then Jennifer said, "Why do you still fly? If you own the company, you could just manage it from an office. You do not need to be out here." Michael smiled slightly. "I have 2 daughters. They are 6 and 8 years old. Their mother passed away 3 years ago. Cancer. I work hard to give them a good life, but I also want them to see that their father loves what he does. I want them to know that work is not just about money. It is about doing something that matters." Jennifer felt her throat tighten. "I did not know. I am sorry for your loss." "Thank you," Michael said quietly. "And I am sorry for judging you," Jennifer added. "I saw single father in your file and I assumed you would be distracted. I assumed you would not be focused on the job. That was wrong of me." Michael looked at her thoughtfully. "Can I tell you something?" "Of course." "Being a single parent does not make me less capable," Michael said. "It makes me more careful. Every time I fly, I think about my daughters. I think about coming home to them. I think about keeping my passengers safe so they can go home to their families too. My daughters are not a distraction. They are my reason for doing everything right. Jennifer nodded slowly. She understood now. She had misjudged this man completely. Can we start over? Jennifer asked. Michael extended his hand. Hi, I am Michael Reed. Nice to meet you. Jennifer shook his hand, and for the first time that morning, she smiled. Jennifer Walsh. Nice to meet you too. They began their pre-flight checks together. This time, Jennifer did not rush him. She did not criticize him. She simply worked alongside him, following the checklist step by step. She watched how methodical he was, how careful with every switch and button. She realized that his thoroughness was not about doubting her. It was about taking responsibility for his own role in the flight. When the passenger arrived, a businessman in an expensive suit, Michael greeted him warmly and helped him with his luggage. The man did not seem to know that Michael owned the aircraft either. He just thanked him and took his seat in the cabin. Jennifer called for clearance, and the tower gave them runway 24. She taxied the aircraft smoothly, and when they reached the runway, she turned to Michael. Ready? She asked. Ready, Michael said. Jennifer advanced the throttles. The Gulfstream accelerated down the runway, faster and faster, until the nose lifted and they were airborne. The aircraft climbed smoothly into the clear morning sky. At 10,000 feet, Jennifer leveled off and engaged the autopilot. She glanced over at Michael, who was monitoring the instruments carefully. Can I ask you something? Jennifer said. Of course. Why did you not get angry when I tried to have you removed? Most people would have been furious. Michael thought about it for a moment. Because anger does not solve anything. You did not know who I was. You made a decision based on what you thought was right. I did not agree with it, but I understood where you were coming from. Jennifer shook her head. I was not thinking about safety. I was thinking about control. I wanted you to follow my orders without question, and when you did not, I felt threatened. Why? Michael asked gently. Jennifer hesitated. Because I have spent 15 years proving myself in this industry. I have worked twice as hard as most male pilots just to get the same respect. I have been talked down to, dismissed, and underestimated more times than I can count. And somewhere along the way, I started seeing every man as a threat. Even the ones who were not. Michael nodded. I understand that. But you do not need to prove anything to me. You are a good pilot. I can see that. How do you know? Jennifer asked. You have only been flying with me for an hour. Because you care, Michael said. You care about being on time. You care about doing things right. You care about being respected. People who care that much usually end up being good at what they do. Jennifer felt tears prick her eyes, but she blinked them away. Thank you. They flew in comfortable silence for a while. Below them, the landscape shifted from cities to farmland to forests. The sky was a perfect blue, dotted with white clouds. After about an hour, Michael spoke again. Can I tell you something? Sure. When I started this company, I was terrified. I had no money, no connections, no experience running a business. I just knew I loved flying, and I wanted to build something that treated pilots with respect. Something where safety always came first, and where people were valued for their skills, not their politics or their connections. It sounds like you succeeded, Jennifer said. Maybe, Michael said. But it has not been easy. I have made a lot of mistakes. I have hired the wrong people. I have lost money. I have lost sleep. But the one thing I have never lost is my love for flying. That is what keeps me going. Jennifer looked at him. Your daughters must be very proud of you. Michael smiled. I hope so. They are the reason I do this. I want them to see that if you work hard and treat people well, good things can happen. That is a good lesson, Jennifer said. My oldest daughter, Emma, wants to be a pilot too, Michael continued. She talks about it all the time. She asks me questions about every flight I take. And my youngest, Sophie, she is more interested in the engineering side. She wants to know how the engines work, how the wings create lift. They both love aviation. That is wonderful, Jennifer said. Will you encourage them? Absolutely, Michael said. But I will also tell them what I wish someone had told me when I was starting out. That this industry will test you. It will challenge you. There will be people who doubt you, who underestimate you, who try to make you feel like you do not belong. But if you love flying enough, if you are willing to work hard and stay humble, you will find your place. Jennifer nodded. That is good advice. The key is humility, Michael added. I have seen so many talented pilots wash out because they could not admit when they were wrong. They let their ego get in the way of their judgment. They stopped learning because they thought they already knew everything. That is dangerous in this profession. I think I was heading down that path, Jennifer admitted. I was so focused on proving I was good enough that I stopped listening to other people. I stopped being open to learning. But you caught yourself, Michael said. That is what matters. It takes real strength to admit you were wrong and change direction. When they landed in Miami 2 hours later, the touchdown was smooth. Jennifer brought the aircraft to a stop on the ramp, and they completed the shutdown checklist together. The passenger thanked them both and left the aircraft. As soon as he was gone, Jennifer turned to Michael. I owe you more than an apology, she said. I owe you an explanation. The reason I reacted the way I did this morning is because I have been hurt before. I have flown with men who did not respect me, who questioned every decision I made, who treated me like I did not belong in the cockpit. And I let that experience turn me into someone I do not like. Someone who sees threats where there are none. Michael listened carefully. I am going to do better, Jennifer continued. I am going to stop assuming the worst about people. I am going to give them a chance before I judge them. And I am going to remember that respect goes both ways. Michael smiled. That sounds like a good plan. Jennifer reached out her hand. Thank you for being patient with me. Michael shook her hand. Thank you for being honest with me. They gathered their bags and walked out of the aircraft together. The Miami sun was hot and bright, and the air smelled like salt water. As they walked toward the crew van, Jennifer said, Can I ask you one more question? Sure. Do you ever regret building this company? Do you ever wish you had just stayed a regular pilot? Michael thought about it for a long moment. Then he shook his head. No. Because if I had not built this company, I would not have met people like you. I would not have had the chance to fly with hundreds of different pilots, each one teaching me something new. I would not have been able to help young pilots get their start. And I would not have been able to show my daughters that building something meaningful is worth the struggle. Jennifer smiled. Your daughters are lucky to have you. I am the lucky one, Michael said. They reached the van, and the driver took them to the hotel where the company had arranged rooms for their layover. As they checked in, the front desk clerk handed them each a key card. You are flying back tomorrow morning? The clerk asked. Yes, Jennifer said. 7 a.m. departure. I will make sure your wake-up calls are set, the clerk said. Jennifer and Michael took the elevator up to their rooms. When they reached Jennifer's floor, she stepped out and turned back. Hey, Michael. He looked at her. Thank you for giving me a second chance. Michael smiled. We all deserve second chances, Captain. The elevator doors closed, and Jennifer walked to her room. Inside, she set her bag down and sat on the edge of the bed. Her phone buzzed with a message from Director Chen. How did the flight go? Jennifer typed back, It went well. Michael is an excellent first officer. I look forward to flying with him again. A moment later, another message came through. I am glad to hear that. Safe travels tomorrow. Jennifer set her phone down and looked out the window. The sun was setting over Miami, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. She thought about the morning, about how wrong she had been, about how close she had come to ruining everything. But she also thought about Michael's words, we all deserve second chances. She realized that he was right. Everyone made mistakes. Everyone had bad days. Everyone had moments when they let fear or anger or pride get in the way of doing the right thing. What mattered was what you did after those moments. Whether you learned from them, whether you grew. Jennifer decided that she would grow. She called her sister that evening. They talked for an hour about life, about work, about relationships. Jennifer told her sister about what had happened that morning, about how she had almost destroyed her career because of her own insecurity. But you learned from it, her sister said. That is what counts. I hope so, Jennifer said. I just feel so embarrassed. I treated him terribly, and he was nothing but kind to me. Then you know what you need to do, her sister said. You need to be that kind of person too. You need to treat people the way he treated you. Jennifer nodded, even though her sister could not see her. You are right. I do. The next morning, she met Michael in the lobby at 6 a.m. They had coffee together in the hotel restaurant, talking about their families, their careers, their dreams. Jennifer learned that Michael's daughters loved science and wanted to be astronauts. She told him about her own childhood, growing up in a small town where no one believed a girl could be a pilot. But you proved them wrong, Michael said. I did, Jennifer agreed. And I am going to keep proving them wrong. But I am going to do it the right way. By being the best pilot I can be. Not by tearing other people down. They flew back to New York together that morning. The flight was smooth, the conversation was easy, and when they landed, Jennifer felt lighter than she had in years. As they walked off the aircraft, Michael turned to her. It was a pleasure flying with you, Captain Walsh. The pleasure was mine, Jennifer said. And she meant it. 3 months later, Jennifer was called into Director Chen's office. She walked in nervously, unsure what to expect. Director Chen smiled and gestured to a chair. Sit down, Captain Walsh. Jennifer sat. I wanted to talk to you about your recent flights, Director Chen said. We have been receiving excellent feedback from passengers and crew members. People say you have become easier to work with. More patient. More collaborative. Jennifer felt relief wash over her. I have been working on it. It shows, Director Chen said. Which is why we would like to offer you a promotion. Jennifer's eyes widened. A promotion? We are expanding our training program, Director Chen explained. We need experienced captains to mentor new pilots. Michael suggested you for the position. He said you have the skills and the experience, and more importantly, the humility to admit when you are wrong and the strength to change. Jennifer felt tears spring to her eyes. Michael said that? He did. So what do you say? Would you be interested in becoming a Czech captain and mentor? Jennifer did not hesitate. Yes. Absolutely yes. Director Chen smiled. Excellent. You start next month. Jennifer left the office walking on air. As she stepped outside, she saw Michael standing by his car in the parking lot. He was loading his flight bag into the trunk. Michael, she called. He looked up and smiled. Hey, Jennifer. She walked over to him. I just talked to Director Chen. She told me about the promotion. Thank you for recommending me. Michael shrugged. You earned it. You are a great pilot and a better person. The new pilots will be lucky to learn from you. Jennifer felt the tears come back. I almost ruined everything that first day. But you did not, Michael said gently. You made a mistake, you owned it, and you changed. That is what matters. Jennifer hugged him. Thank you for giving me a chance. Michael hugged her back. Thank you for taking it. They stood there for a moment in the parking lot, two pilots who had started as adversaries and become friends. I need to get home, Michael said. My daughters have a school play tonight. I promised I would be there. Go, Jennifer said. Do not keep them waiting. Michael got in his car and drove away. Jennifer watched him go, then got into her own car. As she drove home, she thought about how much her life had changed in just 3 months. She had learned that respect was not something you demanded. It was something you earned. She had learned that strength was not about control. It was about vulnerability. And she had learned that the best leaders were not the ones who never made mistakes. They were the ones who admitted their mistakes and grew from them. Jennifer smiled as she drove. She thought about the new pilots she would train, the lessons she would teach them, the kind of mentor she wanted to be. She wanted to be like Michael. Patient. Humble. Kind, someone who led by example, not by authority, someone who gave people second chances. 6 months later, Jennifer stood in a training room with 5 new pilots. They were young, nervous, eager to learn. She looked at their faces and saw herself 10 years ago, full of ambition, full of doubt, desperate to prove themselves. Welcome, Jennifer said. I am Captain Walsh, and I will be your check captain for the next 3 months. Before we begin, I want to tell you something important. You are going to make mistakes. We all do. The question is not whether you will make mistakes. The question is what you will do when you make them. The students listened carefully. I made a terrible mistake once, Jennifer continued. I judged someone without knowing anything about them. I let my own insecurity cloud my judgment. And I almost destroyed my career because of it. But someone gave me a second chance. Someone showed me that it is okay to be wrong, as long as you learn from it. She paused. That is what I want to teach you. Not just how to fly an aircraft. But how to be the kind of pilot that people trust, the kind of pilot who admits when they are wrong, the kind of pilot who puts safety above ego, the kind of pilot who treats everyone with respect, no matter who they are. One of the students raised her hand. Captain Walsh, how do we know when we are making a mistake? Jennifer smiled. You listen. You stay humble. You remember that there is always more to learn. And you surround yourself with people who will tell you the truth, even when it is hard to hear. The training went well. Jennifer found that she loved teaching. She loved seeing the students grow, watching them gain confidence, helping them through their struggles. And she thought about Michael often, about the patience he had shown her, about the grace he had given her when she did not deserve it. One evening, after a particularly long training session, Jennifer was walking to her car when she saw Michael again. He was standing by the same Gulf Stream they had flown together that first day. Michael, she called. He turned and smiled. Jennifer. How is the training going? Really well, she said. I love it. Thank you again for recommending me. You are doing great work, Michael said. I have been hearing good things. That means a lot coming from you, Jennifer said. They stood there in the evening light, 2 pilots who had found their way through conflict to mutual respect. You know, Jennifer said, I think about that first flight we did together all the time. I think about how wrong I was, and how patient you were with me. I think about it too, Michael said. But not because you were wrong. I think about it because of how you changed. That is rare. Most people double down on their mistakes. You did the opposite. Jennifer smiled. I had a good teacher. We all need good teachers, Michael said. That is why I am so glad you are training the next generation. You are going to make them better pilots. Better people. I hope so, Jennifer said. Michael looked at his watch. I need to get home. Emma has a soccer game, and Sophie is making dinner. She is 9 now and thinks she is a chef. Jennifer laughed. Go. Enjoy your evening. You too, Michael said. As Jennifer drove home that night, she thought about everything she had learned. About humility, about grace, about second chances. About the kind of person she wanted to be. She thought about Michael's daughters, growing up with a father who showed them what real strength looked like. Not the strength of power or control, but the strength of kindness, patience, and forgiveness. And she thought about her own future, about the pilots she would train, about the lives she would touch, about the legacy she would leave. Because in the end, that was what flying was really about. Not the planes or the destinations or the hours logged in a cockpit. It was about the people. The connections you made. The lives you touched. The lessons you learned and passed on to others. And Jennifer was ready to be that kind of pilot. She was ready to fly not just aircraft, but to help others soar.